Looking at a few selections of photographs from the book, the first one I would like to look at is a traditional sash window. It's actually in a little thatched cottage out in County Fermanagh, and it shows how a very simple feature like this has a lot of character. The bright colours on it, the simple timber work on it, and the way it's set deep into the wall. That's all sort of characteristic of an 18th century, maybe early 19th century traditional detail. As an example of something different from that, then, there are quite a lot of examples of bargeboards in the book. Now, bargeboards, people often don't know what a bargeboard is. It's this ornamental timber work on the gable of a building. And the first example is of one in Bessbrook, which is a mill village laid out in the early 19th century. And the sort of public buildings in Bessbrook have elaborate bargeboards like this. A very simple one by comparison is in Castle Rock, and it's beside the sea. And the detailing of the bargeboard is a bit like the breaking of a wave, which seems just entirely appropriate for that location. As another example of a different kind of detail, the McCaulson Hotel, as it was now, the Malmaison Hotel, down the centre of town, that was built as a seed warehouse, and it's a building that's absolutely covered in ornamentation. For many years it lay derelict, and is exactly an example of the kind of thing which can be so easily lost through neglect or bad planning. But the McCaulson building is once more in good use, and because it was built as a seed warehouse, the ornament includes a corbel detail just under the eaves, where the corbel is ornamented with what looks like a pea which is sprouting. So it's a sprouting seed, reminiscent of the kind of thing that went on inside the building. Well, they didn't sprout inside the building, of course. Other ornament would be on all sorts of other details, but one good example would be railings. And this is a railing at Beleek. It's cast iron, the sort of thing that was mass-produced in the 19th century. But it was mass-produced with a tremendous attention to detail, and it's something which is both functional and ornamental. And the last couple of examples would be connected with commerce. The umbrella in Ann Street, something a lot of people will remember, though it's not there any longer. It belonged obviously to someone who sold umbrellas. In fact, originally it was somewhere else and ended up in Ann Street, and it's now in the Folk Museum. This sort of trade advertising was much more effective than simply putting your name up in neon, as perhaps happens now. And lastly, an example of a small country shop. It's a shoe shop in Ballycastle. And it shows how you don't really need large picture windows and bright signs to attract people to look at your goods. Just you can see here the interest that everyone has in the latest shoe wear in Ballycastle.